Greetings, lovers of lore! Thank you for joining me for the 6th installment of the Duskmourn House of Horror story. This part of the story starts with the Wanderer, Nico, and Nashi tied up by the cult of Velgavoth. As they wakened from the magical unconsciousness the priest had inflicted on them, they saw the room they were in was empty of anyone else, save the chrysalis that hung along the walls. Nico summoned a small shard and tried to cut the ropes, while Nashi lamented about the loss of his friends and Tamio's scroll. The head cultist appeared. "Rejoice, for you are blessed." He pointed at Nashi. "For leading them here, you shall be transformed. Your cocoon is being prepared. This is a wondrous gift," he said, as he sat down the box containing Tamio's scroll. The box opened and Tamio appeared. Nashi cried out and Tamio looked away. Winter appeared, demanding his reward for helping to trap the people from the other world. A voice spoke as a horrible chorus. "You were promised your heart's desire." The voice came from a giant moth made of pure nightmare. It was embedded in the cave wall. All of the cultists fell to their knees in supplication, leaving only Winter standing, staring in awe. Velgavoth showed his pleasure with Winter. "You are the first since Marina to offer me a proper sacrifice. At first your friend, now these three." Winter looked determined. "I gave you everything. Now let me leave." Velgavoth laughed heartily, and a doorway appeared in his chest. Winter rushed forwards, tripping in his haste to flee this world. Suddenly, a cultist's body slammed into the wall near Velgavoth. Tyvar and Zamon had arrived, and they looked like monstrosities due to Tyvar's transformation magic, so their companions didn't recognize them at first, which caused Nico to try and pull back as Zamon came to untie him. Tyvar bellowed happily, throwing cultists around like sacks of grain. Velgavoth raged at the effrontery of this intrusion. Winter tried to reach the door, but Tyvar threw a cultist at Velgavoth, blocking Winter's way. By this time, Zamon had freed Nico, who used quickly thrown shards to free the Wanderer, and the Wanderer cut Nashi loose and gave him her fate shifter, and then turned to charge at Velgavoth. Zamon used the box she was carrying to ensnare a cultist with fractal magic. Then she used the same fractal magic to wrap Tyvar in protective bands. The Wanderer battled Velgavoth, cutting through the caustic webbing he spat, her blade absorbing energy and glowing white. Nashi ran over to the box that held Tamio. Tamio explained the ghost box was the only thing keeping her alive. He couldn't save her. The cult of Velgavoth had ruined her and tethered her, after stripping away all of her memories. She apologized to Nashi. "I'm sorry, I can't come with you, my son." Nashi was heartbroken. "I need you." Tamio disagreed. "You've become stronger on your own. You don't need me. Let me go. Free me," she begged. Velgavoth roared and sent a nightmare squid at Tyvar. Nico reached for the door in Velgavoth's chest, but it fell into nothingness. So Nico turned around just in time to have a cultist drive a blade straight into Nico's eye, puncturing the brain and ending Nico's life. And then suddenly, Nico was alive again, turning in time to trap the attacking cultist with shard magic, thanks to the Fate Shifter's second chance. Velgavoth's wings slammed the Wanderer into the ground. "I will unmake you," the demon shouted at her. Nashi yelled out and freed Tamio's spirit from the ghost trap. It dissolved into nothingness as he sadly watched. Velgavoth was unmoved. "I don't need her anymore. I have all of you." And he opened his needle-filled mouth, preparing to bite the Wanderer in half. Behind Velgavoth, the wall glowed white-blue, and a katana burst through his body from behind. Valgavoth's ichor blood dripped from the blade, and he retreated into the ceiling. Kaito was there behind Valgavoth, coming through a blue magical doorway. Proft was standing on the other side gesturing. "Hurry! I can't keep this doorway open for long." As they all fled, a nightmare attacked Tyvar, but Kaito's sword turned into ninja stars and hit it before reassembling back into his blade. Proft hurried them along as they escaped, explaining this was an artificial omen path they were traveling through and wouldn't last long. They made it through safely, and Proft released the magic. Back in Duskmourn, Valgavoth took stock of the situation. It was bleak. The cultists were dead. His nightmares dissipated. He would need to cocoon himself and heal. But all wasn't lost. There were others who served him still, and more hapless fools could be lured here from the new worlds that had been discovered. Valgavoth consoled himself. After all, he still had a special prize. He reached into the attic and looked at his captive. It was loot. He also still had Winter. He grabbed the man up with his tendrils and pulled him into his chest wound. The story ends with Nashi spreading stories about Duskmourn to children. Proft and Atrata had been released from service due to Niv Mizzet's Omen Path mapping project being finished. Proft relaxed in his mental office, but behind him, a moth-engraved door appeared, emanating anger. But when Proft turned around, nothing was there. And that ends the final installment of the Duskmourn House of Horror story. I hope that you enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys think will happen next. Will Valgavoth use loot to reach out into the greater multiverse, trapping even more worlds? Because loot is ultimately a map to the entire multiverse, whereas Tamio's memories only provided doorways to very particular worlds. So it's curious to think about where this will go next. A big shout out to the channel's members and patrons. Thank you very much for supporting what I do here. If you have enjoyed these videos or any videos on this channel, you too can become a member or a patron to support my work. Thanks for coming by, my friends. Go enjoy some more lore on this channel, because at the end of the day, we all know lore is life.